Hello, and happy Saturday to everybody. I hope everybody is having a great Saturday so far and a great weekend. My name is Don Terrell, and I want to welcome you to another great episode of The Color of Motion, where I like to say stories come in all shades. And I highlight people of color and diverse backgrounds in the industry of motion graphics, animation, visual effects, cartoons, and comics. And I want to thank you for joining me today. Super excited about today's episode. Been looking forward to this for a while now. So I hope you enjoy it as well. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. Make sure that you jump on over and join the new Facebook group community, facebook.com/group/the color of motion. I definitely want to make sure that you are connected in the community. Right now, we're broadcasting in the group as well, but come the end of the month, I will be ending broadcasting on my personal page, and you'll only be able to watch it from the group page starting next month. So, if you're one of those ones that enjoys watching the show from Facebook, make sure that you get plugged into the new Facebook group community for sure. Definitely don't want you to miss out because we got a lot of new great things happening. The new website is coming up pretty soon with guest information. We're introducing swag items, so we'll have a store there where you can get swag items from the show. We're going to be doing some great contests, giveaways. Also, going to be giving the guests some swag items as well, thanking them for being on the show. But the site's going to be up pretty soon. Our new Instagram page will be up as well pretty soon. And we're constantly looking for sponsors for the show. So if you feel like you're a great fit, please reach out to me and let me know. Also, another thing that will be on the website as well, we will be moving the show to audio podcast. So if you're one of those ones that wants to listen to the show on the go, we will soon be just making available audio on Spotify, iTunes, and all the other audio platforms out there. So, again, make sure that you're connected into the community. A lot of great information going up, a lot of great engaging conversation. So, again, definitely want to make sure that you are a part of the show. Also, please make sure that you connect with me. Follow me. You can find me in all my social channels here. Get connected. Definitely want to hear from you and let me know, what you think of the show. If you have any ideas, any guests you may want to try and get on here, you can let me know that way as well. Again, we're going live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook, but I always encourage people to jump on over to my YouTube page, give a thumbs up, comment on the episode, subscribe, hit the bell notification so that you're notified. YouTube.com/Don Terrell as well. Again, like I said, we are, actively searching for sponsors for the show, but we definitely encourage and welcome anybody that wants to support the show individually. Have a tip jar. So if you are so inclined to throw a few dollars in the tip jar, you can find the Cash App at Don Terrell 65. Scan the barcode. It will take you there, and we would welcome your support. It helps me to continue to level up the show. Like I said, if you are one of those ones that, you know, helps us out, we will definitely give you a shout out and thank you properly on this show. So your name could be there. We want to like I said, thank our patrons and supporters. It definitely helps me to continue to level up the show. My goal is to make this as awesome an experience as possible and best show I can. So that definitely helps me continue to do that as well. What else? I think that is pretty much it, I guess. And we'll get ready to get into it. Like I said, we want to bring the wow factor to you, and I think this show is going to do it. Like I said, been super excited about sitting down and talking with my next guest. Super talented. We got connected some time ago and was just blown away by his work. We're kind of doing the same thing. Both love motion graphics, so definitely excited about having him on, and I know you're going to enjoy him as well. So, with that, I think we can dive right in. My next guest is a self taught motion designer and entrepreneur who is leading a fast growing motion design studio out of Birmingham, Alabama. Alabama. That's where my family is from, so not too far. After starting his motion design career as a junior animator at a social media agency 4 years ago, he has now built up his own company, Dreamheim Studios, working with clients such as Macy's, Netflix, Hibbett Sports, the World Games, and others. Dreamheim has become a well-known studio. He also has a passion for teaching and mentoring the youth and hosts a weekly Photoshop class where he teaches teens and adults the principle of design. I might have him back to maybe do a Photoshop class on the show. So we'll see. Uh, with that, please, everybody, help me welcome my friend and guest, Mr. Raheim Robinson. I think you muted yourself, Mr. Raheim.
I got you. What's up, Don?
What's going on there, Raheim? Appreciate you so much being on the show. How's everything going with you, brother?
Man, things are going well. I appreciate you having me, man. I'm happy we could finally, coordinate and be able to do it.
Yeah, it's been a little bit coming, but hey, I'm a patient person, and definitely it was worth uh, waiting to get you on the show when you're available. I know you got a lot of things happening with Dreamheim. Like you said, it's starting to grow and really get big. And before we do, I want to show everybody what Dreamheim can do. Everybody, check it out.
For my next number, I'd like to return to the classics.
Some amazing work there.
Appreciate it.
And like I told you when we first connected, I was just impressed with just, the level of the work that you do and the dedication at which you do it, man.
I appreciate it, Don. Thank you, man.
No, thank you. And I'm curious. what was it about motion design that really attracted you? I mean, was that what you were doing for the social media agency? What initially kind of attracted you to motion design?
Right. So man, I think it was really just like the mixture between like the computer side and the technical side, and then the creative side and like the human aspect. So yeah, I went into the social media agency as a junior animator, and like they actually recruited me when I was at Mississippi State. I was at Mississippi State doing I was studying software engineering, and then I I had a marketing class where I met the CEO of the social media agency. And then from there, they were like, you should check out this program named After Effects, and it helps you make awesome videos and stuff. So then, I go on YouTube and I start kind of learning about the software's capabilities and everything. And man, I mean, from my first animation, which was like, I mean, it was just like my name masked into some type of it's like some type of pre-made little thing that went across the screen, but I thought it was awesome. I was like, and from that point, I was hooked, dude. Yeah, it was
I
cool.
heard you. I heard. So you
Yeah,
were initially going to school to what do you think you were? I mean, going to school
yeah,
to come
like
out to
like
be.
like most like most computer engineers or whatnot. I was going to work at Google or Apple or say somewhere like that. And man, it was just like, it was cool. Like I enjoyed coding, and I was a decent coder or whatnot. But then, I had my colleagues or whatnot. They were like, yeah, I've never made a B, or I haven't made a B since like forever. I was like, wait a minute.
Well, you're
And
much better than me
I
because
was like,
I.
well, wait a minute. I was like, well, I don't know if I'm gonna get that internship. So,
And now
so
you're
that's just
now you're doing motion graphics for Google and companies like that. So
yeah,
it's kind of ironic in a way.
yeah,
But you are much better than me. I realized very early on that I'm not a coder. I
yeah.
can do
No,
some HTML, but that's not my thing. So,
yeah.
oh man.
That's funny.
Obviously, you're self-taught. Did you feel like that kind of hindered you in a way that other people that went to more formal training kind of got that kind of head start a little?
Right. So I used to think that, and it wasn't really that long. So my creative director at the agency, a guy named Hank Washington, super talented creative, he actually went to Mississippi State and he studied design. And he went through all of the courses and things like that. He graduated, and then when I was at the agency, I would see Hank. He would be googling stuff, YouTubing the same thing. He's like, Hank, did you not learn this in school or whatnot? He's like, Raheim, if you and granted, he went to Mississippi State and not like fancy design school and stuff,
Yeah,
but he was like, Raheem, you don't learn that type of stuff, and school's just a lot of what I'm saying. And but
yeah,
I mean, I think that that's what any college major, you don't learn the application of it.
yeah, yeah,
You don't get that experience part, like
yeah,
when the
yeah,
client tells you something that they don't know the answer to,
yeah,
or how to
yeah,
pull those answers from them using questions or whatnot.
yeah,
So yeah, I used to think that, but then man, I got really good at YouTube. I got really good at like learning different search terms and how to figure out what I'm looking for and then
yeah,
how to find it.
yeah,
So I mean, because of that, I mean, I like how I turned out,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I,
No,
I mean, if I would have studied in school, maybe I would have got it faster or something. I
all you had, trust me, I went to school. All you would have
don't know.
is a paper, and I'm not diminishing it. Is a paper, but to that point though, and I think I've had this conversation with a few guests before. I'm sure you've seen the proliferation of a lot of online schools and online, animation schools. There's School of Motion, which I'm
Yeah,
not sure they're one. I feel they're so much better because the instructors there are actually
yeah,
working
yeah,
professionals and they teach you the real ins and outs of project studio, how it runs in studios and that type of thing. So I feel like now with, and plus you don't pay near as much going
Yeah,
online as you would
yeah.
the 4 year school. I feel now it's so much better for people to learn things now.
Yeah, 100%, man. And those are actually, yeah, and I can tell you like some of the things I used, like, what'd you say? You said motion design school?
Yeah, like
School of Motion?
school of
Yeah,
motion is
School of
one.
Motion is one. I think Motion Design School is
Yeah,
also one. YouTube
yeah,
University. I mean, that's the best. It's
that's the
free. It's
biggest
like the
one.
best. It's the
YouTube.
best community college to start at, and then
Yeah.
you graduate, and then you go and get you one of those type of courses. But all of those are great. Like I've taken courses on both, and I learned a ton. Like you were saying, there's none of the extra stuff. It's none of the extracurricular stuff. It's none of the classes that you don't need. It's just straight up motion design from actual motion designers, so you see what they make.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, I would definitely recommend those. Skillshare,
yeah,
Udemy has some solid stuff, and Adobe.
yeah.
Adobe has solid
Adobe.
tutorials on their
Yeah,
website.
yeah. Well, I mean, what were you? I mean, how were you kind of when you were younger, growing up? I mean, what were you into? Computers, that type of thing, into sports, or what was your? I mean, what were you like when you were younger?
Yeah, I only cared about computers and basketball. Like that was it. Like that was my thing. I knew I was going to do one or the other. I was going to be some type of like computer guy that whether I coded, made apps or whatnot, or I was going to hoop. You know what I'm saying? Those are the two things that I spent all my time on. Before that, I was a pretty country guy. I grew up in Mississippi. I grew up around horses, rode horses, raced horses, all of that type of stuff. And then I came across computers and gaming and basketball, and then that kind of took
That was
my
your
interest from
world.
there.
I hear
Yeah.
you. I hear you. So was it? I mean, for you, was that uh, obviously a big step going out on your own and starting your own studio? What was that deciding factor for you to finally make a okay? Let me go out and do this.
Yeah, I think it was when the agency kind of caught notice even before I did. So, like when I was first at the agency, one thing that I did when I was there is I always looked at inspiration in the morning. Like from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, they knew I wasn't doing anything, but I was going to be on Behance, I was going to be on Vimeo, I was going to be looking at portfolios of just like these amazing people, right? Who I was just like, I'll never be able to make stuff that good. So I just always watched that, and I would just kind of make my agency videos and things like that. And then shortly after, some of the account managers, some of the creators at the agency, they would be like, Raheem, you actually getting pretty good at this stuff really fast. It was like you gonna leave us and go freelance and stuff. I was like, no. I was like, I can't even support myself now with my salary. Like, how am I supposed to go freelance? And we were just talking like that about like for the first year in 2018. And then 2019 came, and and at that point, I dropped out of Mississippi State. So when 2019 came, I was like, I'm gonna go all in on motion design, and I'm actually gonna try to make Dreamheim a thing. Like I'm actually gonna see how it does. So that's what I did. I really just like focused up on LinkedIn, my portfolio, making show reels and things like that. And then through 2019, I gained some just like national clients, Macy's, Hibbett Sports, worked with some other big companies out of Birmingham. And then by the end of 2019, also with my freelance, I never told anyone in the agency about it. I mean, maybe my creative director knew, like Hank, we would chat a little bit, but I didn't really tell anyone else. But like when the Macy's project came out, and then when the Hibbett stuff released, which Hibbett's they're a Birmingham based company, so a lot of their stuff they would either like tag me on, or you would see that it was mine.
Yeah.
And then some of the people at the agency would be like, "So Raheem, like, what are you gonna do?" Like, I see this Macy stuff, I see this Hibbett stuff, and they were kind of like, "You." There's like, "So what do you want to do?" and things like that. And I was just like, I'm not sure yet. I don't know. So towards the end of the year, I talked with my girlfriend about it, and saying we were both just kind of like, I always just really didn't have any expectation. I was like, hey, I'm just gonna see what happens.
Yeah.
Like I'm just gonna keep working. I'm gonna keep doing my side hustle. You know what I'm saying, while I'm at the agency and
So how are
whatnot.
you getting? I mean, but while you were working your regular job, how are you getting these type of clients? Were you procuring them through
Just
social or
networking,
network?
man. Yeah. Like networking, LinkedIn. Like I started my LinkedIn, quote unquote brand. I mean, late 2018, early 2019, and I'm talking about I was on it every day, like just uploading videos every day, talking with people, and then where the social media agency was is inside of it was inside of a co-working space. It's called the Innovation Depot. It's about
Yeah.
100 companies in the Innovation Depot. And when I would come to work, I would be like, why does nobody here talk to each other? Or like, why does nobody? So that's what I did. I was just kind of walk around, and if you had an interesting name on your door, or if you had something cool going on the inside, I would just knock on the door, and I'd be like, what's up? What are y'all in here doing? Like I'm an animator here. I'm just kind of seeing what y'all are doing. And I was never a very salesy person,
Yeah.
because I learned early on that didn't work for me. Like
No.
I was never the type of person to be like, hey, I got these videos. I got these videos for 100. I got these videos for
Yeah. Yeah.
500.
Yeah.
If you need one, I would just kind of introduce myself, learn about them, see if it's even a company I'm interested in, and then if they have a need for animation, which most people did,
Yeah.
they would let me know, and I just would try and deliver, man. Just every time, I would just try and make whatever my next video was, it had to be better than my last one. And I just kept just constantly trying to deliver for people,
Yeah.
and eventually, I got a good reputation, and more people just started to come.
Yeah. So do you feel like that was just kind of a part of your personality with connecting as opposed to, like you said, coming from a sales point of view and made it much easier as you were getting clients?
Yeah, I think so, because I think it was just very genuine, and that's just me. Like I like hanging around. I like hanging around people. I like being around people who are just themselves, and who are just, you know what I'm saying, who are just going to be very original. And I feel like, and with a lot of those people, a lot of my clients, I mean, we would kind of become friends first, if whether I'm talking with that CEO or whatnot, and they're like, hey man, I like what you're doing,
Yeah.
I'm saying, tell me more about it, things like that. And we would just make a genuine connection, versus on the salesy side, I don't know, I feel like we're both just being fake. Like I'm selling you this thing that I have to sell
Yeah.
to make some money,
Yeah.
and you're buying it because you gotta have it or
Yeah.
something. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, but I just never really had that type of mindset.
No, that's definitely, and it's something, like I said, I've tried to learn that, sales is really about connecting and service. How can you
Yeah.
help them, and how can you, even if it's not your service that they're going
Hmm.
to use, but how can you truly serve somebody? When you were sitting down, obviously, you went all in motion design. So was that, I'm on After Effects every day. I'm on After Effects doing something every day. Was that your thought? And how much time did you put in as you were getting better at After Effects?
Yeah, I mean, literally every hour of the day. Like I would get up at 8, get to work. Like I said, I'm looking at my looking at my inspo and things like that. Then I'm working. I'm working from 8 to 5. Usually, I'm gonna skip my lunch. I'm gonna skip my lunch, and I'm either gonna prepare LinkedIn posts. I'm gonna do client emails. I'm gonna work on a video. You know what I'm saying? Learn something new. Well, I couldn't really afford to go out to eat lunch with the agency every day. They spending $20 a day, $25 a day. I'm like, I'm on a junior animator salary, so I wasn't able to do all of that. So, I sit around the office and I do that. And then after work, I'll probably go and play basketball somewhere, like a local gym, leave there around 7 or 8. And then when I get home, which at that time I was living with the creative director, I was staying with Hank.
Yeah.
I mean, he was working, I was working, and it was literally, that was the culture every day. But I loved it. It wasn't like my hand was forced into anything. I was just like, I'm doing what I love, to the point where people would call me and they'll be like, well, I know you're on your computer, or I know you're animating, or you're watching these tutorials or whatnot. So just call me back, or I'll talk to you later or whatnot. And it was just like that for about 2 years, just every day.
Well, obviously, it served you well because you've, like I said, gotten yourself to this level and point with After Effects and
Mhm.
motion design. Um, so were there when you sat down to do something? Did you have an idea of what effect you wanted to do and what you wanted to learn from After Effects when you would sit down, or did you give yourself a project or say, okay, I'm going to create a I don't know, an animated logo for myself or something like that?
Right. Yeah. So starting out, what I did was I would go on YouTube and I would find one tutorial that I wanted to do every day. So every day I would go on YouTube and I would just find something, whether it was like how to make this 3D object, how to do this text animation, how to do a write out animation, whatever it was. Every day I would find something that's pretty interesting. I usually tried to find a tutorial that was less than 20 minutes because I know however long the tutorial is, it's going to take me three times that because I got to keep going
Yeah,
backwards.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So I was like, if I ain't trying to work too long, I can't watch the hour long tutorial. So I would find one thing every day, and that's what I would make. And then throughout just like creating that one thing, I would just learn different things. I would learn, oh, okay, this is how you make the keyframes faster. Okay, this right here is a shortcut to how you feel things. And then after that, I would just do that every day.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be pretty much my thing, unless I had like a freelance project, which I had a good bit of freelance projects because I didn't just have a high rate at the time when I was
Yeah,
first starting. So I always had a lot of client work to work on as well to
yeah,
improve my
yeah.
skills.
So at what point did you, I mean, obviously, when you started the studio, you had to change your rates because, like I said, you got a
Right.
studio. You kind of had to step up that way. But at what point did you say, okay, I'm good enough that I can charge this amount and not, okay, $100, doing these
I've been
$100
there.
projects? At what
Yeah.
point did you look at your work and say, wow, okay, I'm pretty good at this and, I'm pretty comfortable in the software?
Hmm. I really don't know, man. It was just like a slow transition. I mean, I knew I couldn't make $100 videos forever. And I think, okay, I remember what it was. So we went to this client. So I was at the social media agency, and we went to meet with this client. They're the Church of the Highlands, like the biggest church in the nation or something. So we go there to chat with them. We weren't doing any. We were doing like social media stuff for them, but they had a super dope animator there, super dope dude. I still look at his stuff and I'm like, wow, how? So we were there meeting with them and whatnot, and I was like, "Yo, guys, where's the animator at?" And I think they were like, "Well, I think he's coming back in from Europe." He had a freelance project and they flew him and his wife out. I think they might have paid him like 100 grand or something like that. And
Wow.
I said, "Whoa, wait a minute." That's when I was like, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, okay, it's time to really start taking this stuff. See, I said, wait a minute, you can really make some money with this stuff. So then, yeah, that just kind of really opened things up for me because there weren't any other animators at the agency either. I was the only animator there, and there weren't any other animators in Innovation Depot to really just talk with or
Yeah.
whatnot. So that really opened my mind. I mean, I knew I couldn't charge that much,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that kind of opened my mind. Let me know, okay, I know $100 is way too less, and sometimes maybe 1,000 is even too less.
He
You
said this
know,
don't add up quite
uh,
right.
I
But
was like,
like you
I'll never
said,
be able to do
it
that.
opened up your ideas to the possibility that it can be done
Exactly.
and can be accomplished. So amazing. So what was the biggest challenge for you? Was that because I know that's a hard thing for some people, especially ones coming from say a and that was kind of my thing.
Mhm.
It's a different mentality working a 9 to 5 job as opposed to you're running your own studio. What was the biggest challenge and shift for you when you started Dreamheim?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was the same with charging more, and it's just like believing in yourself. Just like if you're putting in the time every day, and you know that you're working on these skills every single day, it just gives you a very strong belief system in yourself to where it's like even if I'm not the top motion designer right now, I know that with my work ethic and if I keep on going at this pace, like I can only get better. You
Yeah.
know, like regardless of even if it's just 1% every day, I know I'm getting better.
Yeah.
So I think that that helps you, at least when it comes to like charging more and whatnot. And then as far as going freelance, I mean, yeah, it's gonna take a lot of belief. It's gonna take, you know what I'm saying, some and it's just like it's like taking a risk. But at the end of the day, you just got to know that where you're at is going to always be there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so like, hey, if I go freelance and I got to go back and get a 9 to 5, man, I like my chances on that.
Yeah.
You know, or if I just so happen to have to freelance, you know, if my bills come out to 1,500,
Yeah.
I got 30 days, and I'm just like, if I do a video for $100 every day, I can hit my rent, you know. So like that's really how I was thinking about it, because I've been there before. I had been in that position where it's like, Raheem, if you don't make a video, you know what I'm saying, in the next 2 weeks, if you don't sell a video next 2 weeks, like you can't make your rent, or
Yeah.
you know, half of the rent that you were paying to hang,
Yeah.
or whatnot. So you know, I had already kind of been with my back against the wall like that. So I was like, hey, I mean, I can do it again. You know?
Yeah. But you seem to have gotten yourself, because like I said, I think this is the big struggle, not just with a freelance motion designer or anybody, but any business, just
Yeah.
sales and marketing of their own service and really bringing work in. That doesn't seem to have been quite a big a step for you, because you were already connecting with people and already, just building those relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. The networking helps a lot.
Definitely. So what have you found to be the best channel for you? I mean, is it in person?
LinkedIn.
Is it LinkedIn? Okay.
LinkedIn and word of mouth / like referrals.
Yeah.
Those two mainly, like the word of mouth and referrals, and that just comes from delivering. Like just, you know what I'm saying, if you say you're gonna do it, then just deliver. You know what I'm saying. If you're gonna be a little late, just let them know. But still, just like now you got to deliver on that second day.
Yeah.
Now, if you tell me you're gonna be a little late, you just deliver on that one for sure.
You're stretching it a little long. So when you started, how long was it before you got to that point where I can't do this alone? Or did you immediately, when you started your studio, start bringing people in, or were you doing pretty much everything yourself until the workload got too much for just you?
Yeah, it was a little bit of both. So essentially it would have been late last year. So I went full time freelance in 2020. Well, I went full time freelance late 2019. So I can just consider the full 2020 is like when I went full time freelance. And I would say it was towards later in the year. So throughout at the beginning of the year, it was cool. I pretty much had a lot of the same clients. I had the agency that I worked at as a client. So all of that was fine. COVID hit. People couldn't film live. That really boosted up our sales and, just the need for animation. So I was on it just all year, really. I was pretty booked up with projects. And then towards the end of the year, I was like, man, I'm tired. It's like, and I do this. Like, I make videos and I get paid good for them and whatnot, and I'm still tired. So I was talking back with the agency. I was talking back with the CEO of the agency that I was at. His name is Keith, and Keith was just like, yeah, man, I do like 10 or 20% of the work here, things like that. And I was like, dang, that's like, and he has a huge team, and they, what I'm saying, they have a large number of clients and all of that. And I was like, so to be able to do 10%, I was like, that sounds, really nice. Or whatnot, because it's like, it's not the fact that, you're handing off the work to everyone else, but it's like you have the option to,
Yeah.
It's like at the end of the day, this thing can, because of the systems, because of, the groundwork that I put in, I can choose to do 10%, you know what I'm saying? Or I can choose to do, 80% of the projects and things like that that I enjoy. So that's really what it was. Like late 2020, man, I was tired, and I was like, if it's something I have to do anyway, I might as well go ahead and I might as well go ahead and get started on it. That's just my mindset with a lot of stuff. It's like, if I got to do it anyway, I might as well go ahead and get started.
And we had talked about this before. At some point, if you're truly getting building a business and you want it to grow, you got to step out of the worker role and into the more managing and running the business as
Yeah.
working in the business. So no, definitely something that needed to be done for sure. What was the very first, uh, I guess, position or person that you brought in? Was it another motion designer, or was it somebody that helped you on the business side, or what?
It was an illustrator. It was actually, was it Hank? I think it was Hank. So yeah, Illustrator, man. I'm decent. I'm decent at Illustrator or whatnot. But I remember my first time seeing Hank working Illustrator, and I was like, this dude is a wizard. Like, what is going on? This stuff clicking and tapering and stretching this and that, and just like, dang. And he never used the menu bar. It was just all hotkeys, and I
Hotkeys.
was yeah, and that's when you know somebody good when it's just they just only in it with the hotkeys. I'm like, yeah. So I needed an illustrator, but someone that could also think creatively that I could
Yeah,
like bounce ideas off of, feedback, things like that.
yeah,
So yeah, it was an illustrator because I do a lot of explainer videos, and those usually require heavy illustration, and ain't no way I
yeah,
couldn't illustrate like I couldn't do two of those at a time.
yeah, yeah.
I'm not that confident. Yeah.
Well, like I said, it seems like you made a lot of great integral connections with people. And what for you? What was, as far as After Effects? What was the kind of most challenging for you to learn or kind of grasp with the software?
It was a couple things, man. Track mats took me a while. Like I remember when I first started doing them, I would just click a random one, and I didn't know what they meant. I didn't know what the alpha mat meant. I didn't know what the loma meant. I didn't know what the inverse meant. So I was just like, I'm just gonna go through all of them until I figure out which one does what. And I did that for probably like 6 months. I didn't even know what they meant. I would just click until the one did what I needed it to. So that and Knowles, I didn't
Yeah,
understand Knowles for a long time, probably about a year. But once I finally understood Knowles, I told all of my design friends about him who were like animating and whatnot. I
yeah,
said, dude, this is gonna change your life. Like check this right here out. I guess I didn't understand it because it was like it was like an invisible layer,
yeah,
So
yeah,
it was just
yeah,
like I'm so used to creating a layer, creating a shape or some text or something, and then you see it. But
yeah,
with the doll, it's like you didn't see it. But like once you really get into those element rich scenes where you have a lot of things moving, or once you get into animating any type of elements where you need things moving at the same time, but you need them moving like with a different momentum. So you
yeah,
needed to play with the keyframes or things like that. You needed to play with the graph. That's when I love using the null. So I can like use this to move the position over,
yeah,
but then I need to use something else to move the rotation at a different momentum. So
yeah.
that helps out with that.
Yeah, yeah. Now, you obviously have a kind of a love and a passion for motion design. I mean, obviously, After Effects is a pretty deep program as far as even doing visual effects. Have you
Yeah.
thought about kind of more the live action visual effects using After Effects for, or do you tend to love just the 2D aspect of how you can use After Effects?
Yeah, I'm definitely more on the 2D side. I mean, starting out, I tried everything, so I still do some live action. Like when I was at the agency, I learned like how to film. I learned my way around the camera pretty well and whatnot. So there are times where I'll still do like some talking head videos, and we'll animate some lower thirds and some elements and stuff. I try to stay away from it. It's like a guilty thing I do. My animation friends would probably be like, "Why are you still doing those?" But the 2D side is it's really still my favorite because you can just control so much of it. You can control,
Yeah,
your environment, what are the backgrounds, how those transition, all of that.
yeah, yeah. So, what's your process for when a company like Google comes to you and says,
Hmm.
"Hey, we'd love to do a animated video." What's your process like when they approach you and you get into a project?
Yeah, well, I try and make it like I'll try and put it in a nutshell. So first is just like qualification call, 15 minutes. What y'all need? You know, what's the timeline on it? How many people have to agree on it? That is really important
Yeah,
because you mess around and do a video and 10 people have to approve it. It's gonna be a long video. So you're trying to see who's on it, and then like ultimately the budget. Does this range work for you guys? We get yeses on all of that, then we'll have another meeting where it's like a discovery meeting. I'll kind of go ahead and do a little research on my own and kind of bring some questions, but I'm ultimately just trying to figure out like what's the problem that we're solving here. So I'm gonna approach it from a problem solving aspect. Get that information, get any type of information on the video, link, VO, no VO,
yeah,
2D, 3D, all of those things that can really influence the price.
yeah,
um, but then I guess even before that, I just get to know the client. So
yeah,
I'm saying first thing I'm trying to figure out is, who am I talking to? What's your background? It's nice to know if you're talking with someone that is a creative, that was a creative in a past life or
yeah,
anything like that. So just kind of get to know them, then get information and things like that about the video. Wrap up the discovery call. Wrap up all of the business stuff, sending over the proposals and invoices and everything. Get that good, and then from there, jump into the script. So I like to base everything off the script. I'll send the client like a script outline to where they can give me the information that I need that only they know,
yeah,
and from there I'll create the script. Usually I'll create it. Now with Dreamheim, we have script writers,
yeah,
so they'll
yeah,
take it and they'll write the script, and then that script goes into the storyboard phase where we have an illustrator that takes that script and they'll match each scene of the storyboard with the script, shoot that over to the client for approval, and then once we get that back, we jump into the animation stage. Illustrator preps the illustrations for the animator. The animator goes in there, he animates, like the first half, sends it over to me for quality control. I help out anywhere that I need to.
yeah.
Yeah, we wrap up the animation, it gets approved by the client, and then we jump into sound design, add the final little bells and whistles. And
Okay.
that's it. I mean, it's a couple. This is like revisions that are inside of there.
Yeah,
At some point during the storyboard phase, we have to get the voiceover and the music, which is part of my favorite part. Like the music is very hard, takes a long time, and you listen to a lot of music. But once you find that right track,
right.
it's
Yeah.
like the video is just awesome from there. Yeah.
So, with as far as the voiceover, they leave it up to you to acquire the voiceover
Yeah.
talent and bringing all of that
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. I'll tell the client, what I'm saying? And that was also one thing that helped me early on with like raising my prices and stuff is like, if I can tell the client, I don't need your help for anything, like you can straight up take your hands off of it and you can focus on your company.
Yeah,
I know that provides a lot of value, and that allowed me to be able to charge more as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, what's the typical time frame that usually the projects that you work on kind of fall within time wise?
Yeah, I would say that usually gonna average about 6 weeks. So I say 5 to 8 weeks. 5 for the shorter video for like the fast turnaround. They're like,
Yeah.
"Yo, I need it tomorrow, whatnot." So we could get it in 5 weeks,
It's
but
in
it's
my.
really not that long. It's really not. Now when it was just me, I could probably pop you out one in a week. But with the team now and us just making like higher quality videos and
Yeah,
everything, it's like
yeah,
it's about 5 weeks. And
yeah,
for like the longer projects or whenever we're dragging out the script phase and things like that, it'll be around 8 weeks.
yeah, yeah. So, what's been the most challenging project that you've worked on? Just
Yeah,
what's
I would say I helped out on this application for Spalding. So it was Pure Sweat Basketball. They're NBA training. They're like an NBA training company or whatnot. led by this guy Drew Hanlon. He's an awesome NBA trainer. And then he teaches a lot of these other coaches and whatnot how to become like great NBA trainers. And they had this company, Pure Sweat. So Pure Sweat and Spalding were collaborating on this basketball training app. And what we were doing is we were taking Drew's entire curriculum and we were videoing it, editing it, and laying special effects on top of it, similar to what you were saying with like the live
Yeah.
shooting special effects, hand tracking, ball tracking, things like that. So yeah, I had to do that for 500 videos.
Ooh,
So
wow.
that one was the most challenging, and it was not like a long timeline on it. And Spalding was
Really?
asking about stuff often, yeah. But and it was a doozy. It definitely made me like a great motion designer. Not because I did all of that, because I don't work like that anymore. No, but it showed me what I could do if I had to do it. And there's
Yeah.
been times where I've had to tap into that mode where it's like, okay, you got to animate all of this tonight, or you have a lot to do, in a little amount of time. So it did show me like, hey, at the end of the day, you can get this thing done, or you're gonna do everything that you can to get it done.
Yeah.
And that's what I did for that project as well. But yeah, I would say that one was the hardest one for
Yeah.
sure.
Wow. Wow. It's amazing. Like I said, and doing it yourself is definitely a big thing. Uh, I'm I'm curious. Where do you kind of see motion design going in the future? I mean, or do you think like, wow, this is the something new coming down, or some new ideas? And like I said, we're always seeing new amazing type of things, and like I said, you can jump online and see people
Right.
doing some crazy stuff.
Mhm.
But where do you kind of see motion graphics fitting in with advertising,
Right.
marketing in the future, and how companies are kind of leveraging it?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think we're still pretty early on like the animation and motion graphics wave as far as the new age of animation, like not the frame by frame, not so much the TV shows and the movies, because we've seen that a lot, but just like the advertising side, and now the side of just like everyday life, just like with everything going so tech,
Yeah,
so AI, everything, like all of those things, if it's on the computer and it has motion in it, I mean, that's motion graphics, like that's animation. I mean, now that you say that, it even brings to mind to where I see like the digital horse racing now, where where you use your cryptocurrency and you bet on the horses. You buy your horse and you bet on the horses and things like that. Well, when them horses run, like that's motion graphic. Like somebody had to model that, somebody had to create that animation, they had to loop it to show you the horses running. And I mean, it's just literally becoming a part of everyday life, everyday advertising. And I feel like the advertisers and the big companies are learning, like, hey, we don't have to hire a scripted actor. You know what I'm saying? Because one day humans just have flaws. I mean,
yeah,
that actor, he could be sick. His voice could not sound the way that you thought it would. He might not be that enthusiastic, whatever it may be. But if you go and create that head in After Effects or in Cinema 4D and you needed to talk, I mean, them lips can move however you need. It can sound however you need.
yeah,
Can move. You know what I'm saying? I think that people just like having that control and that
yeah,
originality. So
yeah, yeah.
motion graphics is still on the up and up. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I think it's such a engaging way that businesses can leverage it, and like you were saying, with just talking people. I mean, we've seen the advances in just how people are looking now. You just look at the games industry and just see
Mhm.
how advanced the graphics are and how advanced the people are looking at. I know that was a big thing early on. They just couldn't get people to look, you know,
Yeah.
real enough. But now you're seeing such big advances in it. What are some of the things that kind of inspire you that kind of feed into your motion graphics? Obviously, you love sports, which really does kind of meld into a lot of the projects that you've done. But
Mhm.
what are other things that you do that kind of helps to inspire your creativity?
Right. Well, I mean, now I just make a bunch of animations. But I mean, I still love. I mean, like I still love basketball. I do a lot of that. I still play basketball a lot. And I actually don't think I have many things in just like my personal life that
Yeah,
influence my business life that much because, well, I mean, I guess sports and tech. So
yeah,
again, those are still like my two, I'm
big
saying, top
passions.
things, like favorite things. So a lot of the work that I do is going to be, tech related and sports related. I love fashion.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of things fashion related. And believe it or not, I love like cosmetics. Like I
Yeah,
love that industry for motion graphics. Like
yeah,
we actually we do a decent amount of that. But when I was at the agency, I did a lot, and I
yeah,
actually liked it a lot. I love the vibe. I love like the upbeat pace of you think about like a Mac, a Kylie, however those
yeah,
cosmetics and things like that. Just like their marketing and their voice. I always thought that that was pretty cool.
yeah.
Um,
Well, it
yeah,
plays
but
well into, like you said, it's so much. You could do so much more with motion graphics wise than you could a photography shoot
right,
or get it
right.
to do for so package design and those type of things, really play well with motion graphics. And I see a lot of companies now starting to leverage that more because, like I said, you could just do so many more different things and things that you just can't do or would probably be way too expensive to do with
Hmm.
a photo shoot or a video shoot.
Right. Right, yeah, yeah. And then I think just like understanding business and loving business helped me out a lot. I mean, even before I moved to Birmingham, I had tons of businesses in Mississippi when I was in college that I just did to, what I'm saying, make ends meet.
Yeah.
So like I think just like loving business because that's the thing too is like when you're starting out, you're gonna talk to a lot of CEOs, because you're gonna be working with a lot of startup companies or mid-sized companies. Unlike the Fortune 500, you're never talking to Macy CEO, Nike CEO, anybody like that. You're gonna talk to the marketing manager or whatnot.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
always thought it was really cool when I first started that. Like, man, I get to be able, I'm able to talk with these CEOs. Like, I can pick their brains. I've always loved business
Yeah.
and how those things work. So, when I first got into motion design, and I mean, what 20 years old or whatnot. It was so cool being able to talk to these people who had already like established these companies and really, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, you're getting a video and I'm asking you stuff about the video, but I'm also learning about how
Learn
your
it.
business works,
Hey,
how
that's
you
how you
got
get in.
started. So
Yeah.
it's cool.
So, do you prefer kind of the startup to mid business, or do you like or enjoy working with bigger companies like Google and Adidas? Which works better for you, or either
I think
way?
it's Yeah. I mean, I think it. If I had to choose one, I would say the small to mid size. Um, but it just really kind of depends on the client, right? So I mean, some Fortune 500 companies, it's like, hey, we're going to give you a ton of creative control. This right here is ultimately what we're looking to communicate. Like, what I'm saying, give me some ideas. We'll choose one. We'll choose some, and then we're going to go from there. So like those are fine, and it's cool. And I know everybody, they see like, the big logos and, they see the Fortune 500 companies and stuff. And they're like, man, that's a lot of money or that's a lot of such and such. It's just like, yeah, they got a lot of money, but how much money is going into the marketing, into like the social marketing or into the, what I'm saying, the short commercials and
Yeah.
things like that. Like a lot of that money is probably going towards their products,
Yeah.
towards customer acquisition, things like that. So that's kind of a misconception I feel like with the Fortune 500 companies. But for the people watching, get your money from them because they have it now. So you definitely get your money from them. But I'm saying if they like, look, we lock tight on this budget or whatnot, it might be what they say. But then with like the small to mid-sized companies, I like those because I mean, and then too, I just prefer to work with funded companies now
Hmm.
because they just not even money wise, but they just have an established brand. They
Yeah.
have a pretty much like a qualified or vetted brand. If someone's willing to invest in them, then they have some good things going. So I really like to work, the funded startups to the mid-sized companies, because you can see the real difference in their business
Yeah.
with your videos. Like we have companies here in Birmingham who we've created explainers for when they went on there, when they went to raise money. I mean, some of them raised up to $300,000.
Yeah.
A lot of them won contests and won $150,000, things like that. So it's cool to see that and be like, man, that was really dope to, what I'm saying, for them to get that investment, with us helping, and then to see it grow their company, or just whenever they get it and their face lights up, because like, hey, these people, like, it's not easy to invest $10,000 in a video, what I'm saying, or whatever, or however
Yeah.
much, what I'm saying, you may charge for a project. So for them to be like, man, I believe in Dreamheim Studios enough to invest this money into you all. Like I take that personally, and I'm like, man, I want you to have the best video that you can have. I want it to last you for years.
Yeah. Yeah. No, obviously. Um, you obviously have a passion for teaching the youth design, and like you said, you host a weekly Photoshop class. Was that something? I mean, was your reasoning because that was something that you would have liked to have had, as you were kind of coming up through school, having the exposure?
Yeah, I think and then what it is was it actually started, it wasn't just like off of, it wasn't really just like my decision to be like, I'm about to start this Photoshop class and people are going to join. It was actually one of my clients, one of like my first clients, one of the first guys. He believed in me, what I'm saying, paid my freelance rates and things like that, and just like helped me, mentored me and whatnot. He was a very nice guy, and he had hit me up and he was like, "Hey Raheem, I see that you're doing some Photoshop stuff," because I would upload like screen recordings of my Photoshop work or whatnot to LinkedIn. He had seen it on there. He's like, "Hey man, I see that you're into Photoshop and stuff, and my daughter, she's looking to get into Photoshop. She wants to go to this university and design for them. I wanted to know if you could teach her." He was like, "Just send me over whatever your rates would be, things like that." So I was like, I mean, this is interesting. I was like, I haven't done this, but honestly, I know Photoshop like the back of my hand. I'm just like, yeah, I could teach it to. I could, so I could tell it to over the phone. But so I was like, yeah, man, let me get some stuff together and I'm gonna get right back with you. He was like, all right, cool. So I put together like a full lesson. I went like full teacher mode, put
Uh,
together a lesson plan, like curriculum, when we were gonna meet, where, how long, what the lessons were gonna be, all of that good stuff. And yeah, and I sent it over to him. He was like, "Cool, man, sounds good." He was like, "I get you connected with her," and yeah, and then we started from there. And then it was like maybe, so she loved it. She was like, from the first class, she was like, "That was awesome. I look forward to Photoshop class every week," things like that. And then shortly afterwards, he hit me up. He was like, "Hey, man." One of the athletes that are kind of coming through my company is also interested in Photoshop. So I was like, cool, tell him to join, somewhere. And then he joined. And then I had some other people start reaching out on social media and whatnot. And the next thing I know, it was like a month later, I said, wait a minute, I was like, man, I got a class. So it just really started out organically like that with what I'm saying, with me and his daughter, and it was fine. What I'm saying, she was cool and she grasped the information and whatnot. And it's nice that when people can come in and they actually enjoy what they're learning and they're
yeah.
actually grasping the stuff. So
Yeah.
it's
Well, I
cool.
mean, to that point, because I always thought myself, I was like, you know, which is hard for some people doing Photoshop, but then teaching it to other people can
Yeah.
be kind of a. And I always thought that was kind of my thing. I mean, I know
Mhm.
Photoshop, but can I teach it and explain it in a way that one is enjoyable for somebody, and two they get and
Right.
truly learn. So was that something obviously easy for you to, like you said, you knew Photoshop by the back, like the back of your hand, but
Mhm.
teaching it to somebody in a structured way
Mhm.
is kind of different from knowing the software yourself. Was that a challenge for you, laying out a curriculum on learning this, or did
Yeah.
you just go by this is how I learned it, and
No, no,
build it
I
from there?
actually Yeah, so at that point, I had pretty much, for what we were doing. So what we were doing was sports design. So at that point, I feel like I had pretty much mastered a lot of the principles of sports design and how to at least create the things, make whatever you wanted to make. So I actually went through and I structured her curriculum by like easiest to hardest thing to understand. Um, and then as far as the teaching, it really wasn't that bad because I knew what needed to be done. It was just talking through it. Like, I mean, it was an hour of talking and explaining and answering questions and this and that. So that took some getting used to. Like, I would really get done with the class and be like, man, I'm tired. That was a lot, But I mean, it was fine. So I would just say it was really just like the talking and understanding how to structure my sentences and how to structure what I'm saying so that I don't tell them like, hey, yeah, so then we're gonna make this layer mask. Oh no, actually, no, let's take the layer mask off and let's, you know what I'm saying? Because it is
No,
like,
I didn't
does the
mean
teacher
that.
know what
Hold
he's
on,
doing?
hold
I ain't mean that.
on.
Yeah, yeah, man. So that's how it was.
Oh man. Well, I want to kind of dive into you know diversity and the fact that you are. I mean, it's a big thing that you're a black-owned studio and really doing great work. Was that something that, I mean, you had exposure to? I mean, was the studio that you worked for and the people that you connected with, were they primarily people of color or were they white? Or, I mean, like I said, we're starting to see that more, and I think um, and it goes along with your kind of teaching that that's, I think, something that's definitely missing, uh, especially in like the underserved schools, giving kids the opportunity to really get exposed to, like I said, studios of diverse people,
Hmm.
really doing kind of work that they may love or may be interested in doing. Was that something that you were kind of exposed to along your path along the way?
Yeah, nah, man, I actually wasn't. I mean, the agency that I was at, it was minority owned. So like the owners at the agency, they were Indian. Hank, he's black. Another creative director I had at the agency, he was black. His name's Adrian. But I mean, yeah, so like that was cool, but that was the only place doing that, and
Mm,
everybody also seen that, and and we knew that it was unique. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we had everybody there. We had, black people, Indian people, white,
yeah,
everything was, what I'm saying? Everyone was at the social agency, and it was cool. And I loved it because that's me though. I'm one of those people. I love all perspectives and
yeah,
like bringing everything together to come up with this solution. But if you can bring all different perspectives and come together, then you get a very unique solution. But yeah, I learned, pretty quickly that it wasn't many, black people in the motion design industry or like as animators. Which at first I was like, I thought that it would have been more. But now, even with like the Photoshop class, how I hire interns at my company and things like that, I try to be I'm intentional about like, are there young brothers, are there
yeah,
young sisters who I can hire for this position to help them get some exposure
yeah.
and learn.
And I think that's the thing. I mean, I think there are a lot of, and I've kind of seen this just in doing the show and the people that I've connected with, because I think that's the perception that we think, because that's not what we see. We don't think there are a lot of people out there doing it that look like
Right,
us, when in actuality there are. They just aren't given the opportunity or just the space to really shine and do what they are good at doing or are
right.
capable of doing. And it's such a great thing, one, that you are, which I think and I hope more companies start to do, and is be more intentional about
Hmm.
the exposure for diverse people coming into studios, because I do feel like that's a a big important thing, being able to take those entities and really go into, like I said, a lot of underserved schools or schools that just aren't given the access to know that there are studios like you that are out there
Right.
that some young black little kid can look at and say,
Mhm.
wow, okay, like you said, you didn't know $100,000 was even possible until you
Yeah.
saw somebody, actually doing it. And then
Yeah.
to have that, a young little black kid look at you and say, wow, I love motion graphics. I just never thought it was something that I could, do, or maybe
Yeah.
even see somebody out there looking to do.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, what's been the best piece of advice that somebody's given you that, to this point that's really kind of served you and you come back to every once in a while and really it has helped you?
Hmm. I would say it's just like, and then I guess no one, it wasn't really anyone in the motion design industry that told me, which I mean, I got a ton of great advice from everyone that, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying, who I used to hang around with and things like that. But I would say, man, it's just like laying a brick every day. You know, just like every day you want to work on your craft, you want to work on your business, you want to nurture that. Like every day, just lay one brick and just lay it as perfectly as you can. I want to say it was probably like Will Smith
Yeah.
who said it.
Yeah.
But at the time, you know, when I was working on my skills, when I was building up my company, when I heard that, it really resonated with me because I was like, that's really how I move. Like I'm not one of those people that just want to move very fast, you know what I'm saying? But I just want to move like very intentionally, very correctly. You know, so to the point where it's just like, hey, even if I just lay one brick, if I lay it as perfectly as I can and I continue to do that every day, soon I'm gonna have a wall,
Yeah.
and then soon I'm gonna have a house, and then you'll have a bigger house, and you just keep on working like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome advice for sure. Um, I mean, when it comes to, your business, what's been the biggest challenge that you've kind of faced or dealt with so far? I mean,
Mhm.
you're still
Right.
obviously fairly, young in what you're doing, but to this point, what's been the biggest challenge for you in building, Dreamheim?
Yeah, I would say it's just been like from going freelance to going to a business owner, because it's very different. Like when 2020 came, or even 2019, like late 2019, 2020 came, I was like, I mean, this is pretty sweet. You know what I'm saying? I'm making 10K plus a month. Some months it's 20 or 30. And I mean, it was cool. I was like, man, I'm good at this. Like people are always calling, you know, like this is the thing. Like I'm ready to. Then you're like, okay, I'm ready to grow it. I'm ready to, not do as much work. Ready to have more help, things like that.
Yeah.
And then that's where you think you just kind of like swerving over, but you go into a whole nother lane, man. And it's just like, all right, now you're a business owner. Like
Yeah.
now you really have to like it's not okay if the leads just kind of come in or not. Now
Yeah.
you really have to go out and generate those
Generate.
leads. You got
Yeah.
to nurture those connections. Some of those leads, some of those deals are gonna take months to close.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? At that point, you need to manage your cash flow correctly
Yeah.
with your team. Like now you got to put in processes to onboard people. Like when you're freelancing, just hop on a call. I tell you what to do. But when you got, you know what I'm saying? But when you're onboarding 5 people in a week, it's like you can't do that with everybody.
Oh man.
And close the deals and do the marketing, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm
that was
telling
that
you.
was one of the biggest challenges, man, just understanding that like you're not a freelancer anymore. Now
Uh,
you own a business.
you're
You
on a
gotta you gotta
business.
run that like a business, you know?
And I'll tell you what was, and like I said, this was, I think, a challenge for a lot of freelancers. Kind of moving into it's a different mindset. It really is, and it's a mindset that you really have to adopt. I will say, if you haven't read it, you really should, because a business kind of coach had me read it, as I was kind of starting to get into that business mindset,
Mhm.
is the E Myth.
Okay.
Um, it's a great book, and it really talks about. Let me see if I have it. I'm gonna step out, people, for a second. Get to my shelf. Great book to read, and I highly recommend that you read this. E Myth Revisited. The why most small businesses don't work and what to do about it all by Michael
Got it.
Gerber. And it really talks about how you have to take off. There's these different roles that as a freelancer, you're wearing all these different hats. And once you move into that mindset of a business, you have
Mhm.
to take off this hat. Like I was saying, you have to take yourself out of the worker position
Right.
and step into the CEO running, really running. It's a great book. And like I said, it really shifted my mindset as it pertains to business and really how to kind of start to get a better handle on just the difference between
Hmm.
employee mindset versus an employer mindset. So,
I got you. Cool.
but like I said, you're in. You got a much better grasp of the workings of it because you're doing so well with how you're moving Dreamheim along
Hmm.
and making it grow. Where do you see your studio? Where are you wanting your studio to go in the future? I mean, what type of projects? What would be a dream project for you? Something that you would love to sink your teeth into? Where do you want Dreamheim to go?
Yeah, well, I think for us, man, I just see us like maxing out probably like 15 people, 20 people strong, super dope office, very dope office. We got electric scooters. We our office is pretty close to some good food trucks for lunchtime. We're not too worried. We're not too worried about the month to month cash flow and things like that. You know what I'm saying? We get to do some awesome projects. We get to do research and development throughout the week so that we continue to work on our skills. I want us all together physically. And then we just have an awesome freelance network. Like we have an awesome network of freelancers who we can tap or bring on to projects where we just need more bandwidth or
Yeah,
the specialty skills.
yeah,
So yeah, man, I see that. And then as far as like a project that I'd love here in the future, I think Apple would be dope for us. I think we have I think I have a very it's creatively, I think in a very minimal and intentional way.
yeah,
I think that's kind of how a lot of Apple's work is, and
yeah.
I see a lot of this stuff, and I'm like, man, we could do that and we could kill it. Then I think that some of that stuff would be dope.
Well, obviously, you're on, like you said, your platform of choice is LinkedIn. Are you
Yeah.
intentional with, like I said, oh, okay, I think Apple would be a good person. Are you intentional with kind of laying those ground seeds of connecting with people in Apple,
Oh well,
or do you just
no,
let your
I actually
work
haven't.
kind of
I
stand
do
for
have.
itself?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of both. So, I mean, I guess now that I think about the Apple project, I probably should connect with some people there. But I feel like those people like the Apples, Amazons, Microsofts, people like that. I feel like you don't find them. I feel like they find you. It's enough people sending them messages, emailing them every day. I feel like those type of people they find you. But I do think that there is a way to, like strategize on LinkedIn. So if there's a certain, what I do is if there's a certain industry that I'm going after. So if there's an influx for us in, let's say, dentistry,
Mm-hmm.
so we're doing a lot of motion graphics for dentist offices or whatnot, then that's where I'll go and connect with on LinkedIn or like one campaign that we actually did have this year was like the ghost campaign where we had the different athletic gear
Yeah.
with like the ghost running in it where there wasn't a person but the
Yeah.
athletic gear was running and whatnot.
Yeah.
So we like once we were posting those on LinkedIn, I went and connected a lot with people at Nike, Champ Sports, Foot Locker, all of these type of people and things like that. And I mean, and we actually worked with some of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not necessarily from that campaign, but it helped or it had
Yeah.
to help. And then just being intentional about
Yeah.
that connecting.
Well, I think, like I said, like you were saying, some things could, depending on how large they are, how large a company they are, it could. It's a long game, and you
Right.
play about, like I said, building the relationship and staying connected with, which is kind of like I said, the approach that I kind of take with the show, for example. It's a
Right.
long game, and I spend a good portion of time just building relationships and friendships, like I said, with people like you and other
Right.
content creators, so that at some point you're ready to be on the show, you want to be on the show, and it happens. But
Yeah.
if I didn't stay connected or be active about, communicating with you through posts, then it would just be
Right.
me coming to you saying, "Hey, you
Yeah.
want to be on the show?"
Yeah,
That type
it's
of
a little
thing.
tougher than that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Like how I was taught was that it's a ladder. Like before they're gonna do a deal with you, they gotta at least like your work, and then
yeah,
then they gotta comment on your work, and then they gotta visit your website. Like sometimes they could skip some steps, and they might go straight to your website or something like that. But usually, it's a ladder that they have to go up.
yeah, yeah. So do you? So and we're coming up on, and for everybody that just jumping on, like I said, we've been having a great conversation with my friend Raheem here. Now, are you spending obviously a lot of time doing client work, or do you spend kind of take a little bit of that time doing kind of spec projects that you think might just be fun projects that we'll
Mhm.
do on our own to put out there to see what kind of feelers that come?
Yeah, in the beginning of the year, we were doing a lot of spec work. So it was just like because we were trying to get in another lane. So we were trying to be more of a 3D studio,
Mm,
trying to be more in that e-commerce lane, which that worked out for us. It helped us out a lot. So when I was, and this was kind of helping me also when I was hiring and kind of vetting different 3D artists and modelers and things like that. I would bring them in and it's like, hey, let's do this. Let's create this spec project. It could be for whoever, and we'll come up with an actual problem and we come up with an actual solution. We storyboard it, animate. We go through the entire process just like Dreamheim normally would.
yeah,
So we were doing spec projects then, but now it's about 80-20. 80% I'm on the managing side, creating processes and systems, and then 20% actually on the creative side, executing on work and whatnot.
yeah, yeah. Do you miss it?
Yeah, man. I was just thinking about it the other day. I do. I was like running a business is super cool and it's fun. It was something I always wanted to do. But I'm telling you, man, like nothing puts me more at peace than when it's like, 8 o'clock at night. I'm just in the office. It's me. I got my lights going. I got my music going, and I'm just on After Effects, and I don't have to worry about clients. I don't have to worry about emails or any of that. I'm just working. I'm just trying to make this piece beautiful. I'm trying to make it move just how I imagined it.
Yeah,
Like that's really peaceful for me. That's what I like a lot,
yeah.
but it's cool. I can do that whenever.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. No, I definitely understand with you that. Like I said, Raheem, this has been such a great show and experience, and I've said before, been working a while to get you on the show, and we've talked about a lot of things just outside of the show, company wise, that I so appreciate you for. And again, always appreciate the fact that we've gotten connected because, like I said, I definitely feel like, you know, there's so much that I can learn from you, and you're just starting out and just getting going, and definitely have accomplished a lot in a short period of time. So I'm just super excited about what's going to come from you moving forward and seeing that.
yeah, man, I appreciate it, and I mean it was a great time, man. I really enjoyed being here. I'm happy that we were able to get connected on LinkedIn. What we're both at all the time. So
All
it's
the
nice that we're able.
time.
It was nice we're able to get connected on there, man. And I was able to come on to the show, and then I was able to even see the growth of the show. I remember earlier this year when we were talking. You were like, Raheem, you can get on. You can get on next week. I'm actually pretty open. And then the next time we chatted, you were like, I'm actually booked up until next January. I was like, whoa.
I'm already booking
So
for January,
that's what I'm
so
saying.
yeah,
So that
yeah.
was cool, man. So I thought it was dope seeing that as
No,
well.
and it's really thanks to being connected with so many talented people such as yourself. Because and I tell people this, and I'll be honest, like part of it, I mean, like I said, I really wanted to highlight, people of color, diverse backgrounds, but there was a little portion of it that, of course, is, you know, selfish on my part because it gives me a chance to really learn
Yeah.
and get kind of passionate about a lot of the things that I love and love doing. So
Mhm.
you definitely, along with so many of the other creators and content creators, have fueled this kind of passion, and I get to learn and freely pick your brain about a lot of different things and a lot of different thoughts on things that helps me. So I'm
Right.
hoping not that it just helps me, but it helps other people out there because I know for me, it's it is inspiring seeing somebody, a young black brother that's really, you know, creatively focused, business focused, and is really putting something together. And like I said, just the cherry on top is you do awesome work. So it's just I enjoy so much seeing it. I know as I was young, and I tell people this when I first got started in comics and cartoons and really getting into art, I didn't see anybody that looked like me. Didn't
Right.
stop me, but I know how much more inspired I would have been had I seen and known about other black creators out there doing something and doing, especially doing what I love. So I'm
Mhm.
so thankful that you and so appreciative that you came on and shared your skills, your knowledge, your passion out there, not just to, you know, young Latinos or whites, but also black, young black kids out there,
Mhm.
and just sharing and really inspiring them that it can be done if they are passionate about what they want to do.
Yeah, man, for sure, 100%. Yeah, and that's what I tell anyone with any business. I mean, graphic, anything service based, healthcare, whatever it is, just like lead with passion. Because that's what's gonna keep you going when things aren't working out. Which at some point things are not gonna work out and things are gonna get rough. And at that point the money ain't gonna do it. When the
No,
headaches are there and you're stressing, like it ain't gonna be the money, it's gonna be the love and the passion. So yeah,
yeah,
that's what I
for
tell them to
sure,
lead with.
for sure. And like I said, I hope everybody has enjoyed this as much as I have, and definitely plan on having Raheem back on the show for sure. Like I said, it's been an awesome show. Make sure that you connect with Raheem. You can check him out on all his platforms here. He's on Instagram. Definitely check out his Behance profile, website. See more of his work. Get connected with him on LinkedIn, like I did. We connected on LinkedIn. He's always there. You can email him at Raheim at Dreamheim Studios for sure. But definitely make sure that you check out his work because they do phenomenal work. And like I said, I know I can learn so much from him on After Effects and motion graphics. So I know you'll be able to learn and benefit from his skills as well. So, all this stuff will be on the show notes for sure. Like I said, go to the YouTube channel. You'll be able to check out everything there. Again, Raheem, I can't thank you enough for
Thank you.
making another great episode. I would appreciate it if you could hang out in the green room for just one
Okay.
minute while I close out the show. But
Okay.
everybody join me in thanking Raheem for being on the show. I appreciate you so much, brother.
Thank y'all. Thank you. Looking forward to hearing some.
All right. Guys, it's been like I said, it's been a great show. Another great episode. Like I said, I'm just so ecstatic about the guests that have been coming on and being able to share their skills and passions and loves with you as well. Like I said, for me, it's a thrill. So I can't thank my guests enough for being a part of this show. Again, make sure that you get connected into the group. Facebook.com/groups, The Color of Motion. Again, at the end of this month, I won't be broadcasting from my personal page, but the group page is the only place in Facebook that you'll be able to check it out. But of course, we're broadcasting on LinkedIn as well. But I do kind of always suggest people get connected into the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Don Terrell. Subscribe, hit the bell notification so that you will be notified. Of course, you can always find me on all my social channels. I'm getting pretty good. Social channels right here. Let me hear from you. Get connected with me. Definitely want to know how you're enjoying the show, what I could be doing better, and just letting me know how I'm doing. Also, like I said, if you are a somebody that you feel like you would love to be a sponsor of this show, please reach out to me. We're always looking for people and companies and businesses that are aligned with the color of motion and that could really help us to continue to level up the show and make it better for sure. If you're not a company, we still love your support. You can throw a few dollars into the tip jar. It always helps to continue to level up the show. You can scan the barcode. You can find me on the Cash App. Whatever you're so inclined to, we would appreciate it so much. Like I said, if you do, we definitely plan on giving you a shout out and thanking you properly. Credit on the show. So, like I said, your name could be there, but it definitely helps us to continue to bring great value to the show. Like I said, we've got a lot of great things planned, and my goal is to, bring some great things to the show and make it an awesome experience for you. Like I said, I hope that you've enjoyed this show. It's been fun and been a great episode today. Make sure that you tune in next week. Next week's going to be another great show for sure. Got my friend, Mr. Raul Dunkley, visual and 3D artist with RD Multimedia Studios out of Jamaica, man. We're looking forward to having him on this show. He's a great guy, so I'm looking forward to sitting down and chopping it up with my friend there. So make sure that you tune in next week because, like I said, it's going to be a great show. What can I say? Everybody have a great week. Make it a productive one. Be nice, be kind. It doesn't cost anything to do that. I will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Cheers.